Our next speaker is coming from London, but she's Argentinian. She's an iOS engineer at Okta, and she specializes in maintaining the OutZero mobile SDKs. Known for her passion for developer experience and design, she brings a unique perspective to mobile development. Let's welcome Rita Zerrizuela.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are you enjoying Swiftable so far? Yes. I'm Rita Zerrizuela, as I was presented. I'm an iOS engineer at the SDKs team at OSS by Okta. Do you know what SDKs are? Please raise your hand, everybody who has ever used any SDK. Exactly. The work that we do touches so many developers. So today, I want to share with you some challenges that we have learned maintaining many open source SDKs over the years. So, oops, no clicker, no problem. So, it's a team of 7 engineers. I'm the resident iOS expert in that team. We maintain the libraries that make it easy for developers to integrate OSS into their applications. There is 44 of them, written in 12 different programming languages, covering a wide range of technologies and frameworks, from the server side, through mobile and desktop, to single-page applications. Thank you. So besides the libraries themselves, we also maintain the sample apps, which are part of the documentation of the libraries. There is 45 of them. And we also maintain, as a team, the quick start tutorials, which are the first touch point for developers looking to integrate OSS into their applications. There's 44 of them. So as you can imagine, a surface area of this size comes with a few challenges. The challenge number 1 is about keeping everything up to date. This makes up the bulk of our planned day-to-day work as a team. This is the core of our work, of what we do. First, we need to keep the libraries themselves up to date. Because, on one hand, the platform itself, OSS, keeps evolving, keeps adding new features. And those features need to be exposed through the SDKs. So that's one source of work. Also, the underlying technologies and frameworks also keep changing. And we also need to keep up with that. Another thing that needs to keep up to date is the documentation. Each of our libraries has a standard README featuring getting started instructions, and most of them also include examples document with instructions for the most common use cases. And we also maintain, for most of our libraries, some sort of API documentation. For example, our Swift libraries use Doxy. So we publish a static website with API documentation. Now, the third thing we need to keep up to date, of course, are dependencies. We need to take care of our customers' supply chain. Now, how do we tackle those challenges? Well, the first tool in our toolbox are planning and processes. For example, we conduct periodic discoveries, that is, research into the state of each of the platforms and technologies and frameworks that we support to see if there is anything new, if there is anything that needs to be updated, there is anything that needs to change. And we incorporate this into our quarterly planning. We also have an internal documented process. So other teams, for example, when they add a new endpoint, can get in touch with us so we can expose it through our SDKs in a planned way. So they will get in touch with us, and then we'll incorporate that work into, say, next quarter. So the second tool in our toolbox for keeping stuff up to date is automation. Automation helps us with documentation. For example, by incorporating the generation of API documentation into our release process, we ensure it is always up to date. The next tool in our automation toolbox is we also use automation to keep dependencies up to date. We use GitHub application that automatically will raise PRs against our libraries and sample apps to keep all the dependencies up to date. We are also now working on having some of the SDKs auto-generated from their OpenAPI spec, so we no longer have to maintain them by hand, because as of today, all our SDKs, except one, are manually written and maintained. So we now are generating our Node SDK automatically from the OpenAPI spec. So the final tool in our toolbox for this challenge is hiring. We look for T-shaped engineers because at our core, our work has a specialist dimension to it, but also given the wide breadth of our technologies and frameworks that we support, we also need engineers that are not afraid to jump into new technologies and feel comfortable with a number of different languages and stacks. So that's for challenge number one. Challenge number two is about interruptive work. You see, more libraries, more sources of interruptive work. The first source of interruptive work are feature requests and also bug reports. These come externally through GitHub and can also come internally through support requests and from account managers. So, of course, we strive to deal with bug reports immediately, but we take another approach for feature requests because what we want to do is to turn unplanned work, interruptive work, into planned work. Now, the third source of interruptive work are requests from other teams. For example, support escalations, questions from another team, questions from a pre-sales engineer working on a proof of concept. So, how do we deal with this challenge of interruptive work? Well, the first thing we can reach for is tooling. Specifically, we use a dashboard that shows us all our open issues and PRs across all our repositories, for both libraries and sample apps, so we can keep an eye on the open issues, unanswered issues, and so on. Now we also make use of release tooling. As you can imagine, we have so many libraries. We are releasing quite often, every week. So this helps to take the human factor out of the equation and ensure that there are no mistakes made when making releases, and that the change log is accurate, and so on and so forth. The final tool that we use to tackle this challenge are Slack bots. So you see, for example, in our quick start tutorials, there is a feedback box, and whatever feedback developers input into that box shows up in a Slack channel. So that gives us visibility into developers' feedback. Also, we have another channel for requests from other teams, so we can see when the status changes, when there's a new comment. So it's a way to get a bird's eye view of these streams of incoming work. Now, for this challenge, we also rely on planning and processes. As I mentioned before, we try to turn unplanned work into planned work. So we take note of the feature requests and reserve time each quarter to go through them, or most of them, so they don't lie forever in our GitHub issues. In some cases, of course, if there's something that is a no-brainer and a small size, we might do it right away. Another thing that helps is a frequent review of issues and PRs and other acts, for example, requests from other teams, and how we do it. So we have a planning meeting at the start of each week. And in that planning meeting, we take a look, we review all the open issues, all the open PRs, and all the open asks from other teams. So if you forgot to reply to a new issue, everybody will see it. And that is incredibly powerful. You didn't review that PR? Everybody in the team will know. So yes, this part of our process is key to help us stay on top of our work. Challenge number 3 is about capacity. You see, since the core of our work is our planned work, and interruptive work takes time away from it, what we want is to maximize capacity. So we want more time to focus on challenge number 1 and less time spent on challenge number 2. And as with most things in life, this is a matter of balance. How we can get there? What can we do to help with this challenge? Well, for once, we rely on improved self-service resources. For example, we're always looking for ways to improve our documentation. If we have easier to parse, read, and follow documentation, clearer documentation, better quality examples, then developers will have an easier time integrating the libraries, and they will be less likely to reach out to support, to open GitHub issues, thereby reducing one of the most important sources that we have of interruptions. And the second thing that helps here is producing training material for support engineers and pre-sales engineers that help them better address the needs of our customers and prospects. And for example, for support engineers, it will help them better troubleshoot issues that customers are experiencing with our SDKs, which in turn results in reduced stream of work from other teams. And the final thing that helps us deal with this capacity challenge is boundaries. You see, we maintain many libraries, but there's only 7 of us. So as much as we would like to help every developer experiencing issues with our libraries and helping them integrate them, the truth of the matter is we just can't. So we had to limit our usage of GitHub issues just to feature requests and bug reports. We don't provide support nor help with usage. We just can't. So, as you can imagine, maintaining these many open source libraries is about finding ways to stay up on top of things that change, and new things that crop up every day. And for that, there is no silver bullet, there is no single solution. If you walk away with only one takeaway from this session, is that there is no single solution that can help with the challenges that come with this kind of scale. The team's practices themselves need to evolve and adapt in order to stay on top of things and keep delivering business value. And that was it. Thank you, everybody, so much for attending.
Thank you, Rita. I have a question for you. It says, how often do you perform discoveries? Are they done each quarter or on a specific milestones, like when a new platform version like iOS is launched?
It depends. If there is no immediate need, like, for example, a known new version, say, of Next.js that requires immediate changes from our side, then we will do it, say, yearly, a discovery on each platform. Otherwise, yes, we might schedule something more immediate for that.
Okay, great. Does anyone would like to ask anything? No? Okay, then. Thank you so much, Rita.